Good, fantastic Friday morning to my Inspire community. I hope everyone woke up this morning in a fantastic mood and is having an amazing day today. I want to talk to you today about your view on circumstance. How do you view how circumstances affect your life? Bruce Lee said, "To hell with circumstances, I create opportunity." Every single one of us have circumstances in our life that are not 100% the way we want them to be. The difference between people who are successful and people who are not are how we view those circumstances. There are no circumstances that are inherently good or bad. It's how we perceive those circumstances, how we look at those, and how we choose to act on those circumstances. There's been a lot of stuff going on in my life lately. There's been a lot of loss happening, and it is extremely, extremely hard when you are going through circumstances that you feel like you can't control. But I'm here today to tell you that there is one thing that you can control, and that is how you perceive those circumstances. You may say, "I don't have any money. I'm struggling to put food on the table. I'm in a bad, abusive relationship. I have a bad family life. I have a bad home life. People are mean to me. I have a boss that hates me. I have a husband or a wife that treats me bad." These are all circumstances that you can overcome. Now, here's the hard truth about it. Sometimes, to overcome those circumstances, you have to leave people. The other thing is, you have to start developing and working on yourself before your circumstances will change. So how do you do that? How do you work on yourself? How do you develop yourself? Well, in my experience, the best way to start working on yourself is to listen to those who have been through those things and start acting the way they acted when they were going through those hard times. One of the books I've been reading lately that is really, I've read it before, but I'm rereading it, and I'm reading it from a different point of view right now, and it is amazing, and I'm going to share a little excerpt from it about circumstance, about response and stimulus today. It's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It is by Stephen Covey, and it is an amazing book. I highly recommend everybody, no matter what your belief system is, what your background is, that you get out and that you check it out and you read it today. But I'm going to read you an excerpt from it. It's about a man named Viktor Frankl, who was in a Nazi concentration camp. He had lost his mother, his brother, his sister to the gas chambers, and he started looking inward to see how his inward thoughts could affect his circumstances. And this excerpt that I'm going to read is to when he was to a point when he had absolutely nothing left. So I pray that you'll listen to this and that you'll take this in and that you'll really try to internalize it. I'm going to read it kind of slow so you get every single word of it. Okay, it says, "One day, naked and alone in a small room, he began to become aware of what he later called the last of the human freedoms. The freedom his Nazi captors could not take away. They could control his entire environment. They could do what they wanted to his body, but Viktor Frankl was a self-aware being who could look as an observer at his very involvement. His basic identity was intact. He could decide within himself how all of this was going to affect him. Between what happened to him or the stimulus and his response to it was his freedom or power to choose that response. In the midst of his experiences, Frankl would project himself into different circumstances, such as lecturing to his students after his release from the death camps. He would describe himself in the classroom, in his mind's eye, and give his students the lessons he was learning during this very torture. So he was projecting, he was thinking about, he was dreaming about teaching his students lessons in his mind while he was being tortured. Extremely powerful. Through a series of such disciplines, mental, emotional, and moral, principally using memory and imagination, he exercised small embryonic freedom until it grew larger and larger, until he had more freedom than his Nazi captors. They had more liberty, more options to choose from in their environment, but he had more freedom, more internal power to exercise his options. He became an inspiration to those around him, even to some of the guards. He helped others find meaning in their suffering and dignity in their present existence. In the midst of the most degrading circumstances imaginable, Frankl used the human endowment of self-awareness to discover a fundamental principle about the nature of man. Between stimulus and response, man has the freedom to choose. Now that right there is an extremely powerful thing. God endowed us with the ability to choose. We get to choose how circumstances affect our life. We get to choose how we react to adversity. I would say today that I would pray for adversity, because adversity sharpens you. It makes you a stronger person. I've been through some tremendously hard times in my life. I've been through loss. I've been through depression. I've been through addiction. I'm going through a lot of stuff right now, but guess what? Those circumstances don't define who you are as a person. What defines who you are as a person is how you feel about yourself inside and how you allow those circumstances to affect you. Choose today to start looking inward, to start developing yourself, and put God first. All those hurts, all those transgressions, all those things that are going on in your life, give it to God. God says He's not going to give you something that's too hard for you to bear. Those things that He gives you that are hard are things that He is using to develop your character, your perseverance, your hope, and eventually your salvation. So I hope everyone has an amazing Friday. I love every single one of you, and I wish the absolute best for you. But start today working on yourself. Start developing yourself, and it will change your life forever. I hope you have an amazing Friday.